Okay, so in today's video I wanted to share with you how to use the MD slider and how I use it. Now this component will allow you to pick a point on a surface, so I'll show you how to do that. Let's start by go ahead and double click here and go to create point. So construct point, and this allows you to pick the X, Y, or Z coordinate where this point is. So we can say 5 in the X and then 5 in the Y, and it brings it out diagonally. And this is kind of how we create a point. So let's just create one that's 0, 0. So we'll actually copy one over here and unplug this. So this is at 0, 0. This one, we'll move it to the Z coordinate. So we're just going to move it up. And then let's increase the slider to 50. Right? So what we've done is we created 1 point, second point. So now we can naturally create a line using a start and end point. So we'll use this point as our start point, this as our end point. And now we can use this line to extrude. So there's other ways in which we could create a surface, but I like kind of creating it standing up like this, and I'll show you the reason why. So we'll plug in this line into the base, and now it's going to ask us for a direction to extrude it. So the direction is going to be along this red line, and when we look here in Rhino, we see that that red line is actually X positive. So we'll move this in the direction of X, and then also copy a slider over to extrude it out. So if you want it to be the same amount as the height, that could be possible. So you do something like this, creating a perfect square box. Now the reason why I do that is because now we can go ahead and use the MD slider, and the MD slider is going to be used in conjunction or with evaluate surface. So evaluate surface is going to take this surface, which is this one. We're going to plug it into here, and it's going to evaluate that surface, and it's going to take this graph and it's going to tell it that the bounds of this graph are the bounds of this surface. So I'll plug this one here, and the important thing to remember is to always reparameterize your surface, and then you'll be able to plug in this 0.5 here, allowing you to kind of move this around. Now this is useful for many things. You can create a perforation, or you could create an opening in a specific location of a plane just by kind of picking that point, right? So this is the quick way to use the MD slider. But if you, let's say you wanted to do it by hand, you can construct a point, right? And then this point here, we can plug this here, and now it's going at 0, 0, 0 coordinate. And let's say we wanted it at 0.5 in the middle everywhere. So we'll go to X, Y, and 0.5. We could also go diagonally this way. But this just makes it a little bit harder using a slider. So that's why I use the MD slider. And that allows me to actually just use this cool graph and not have to worry about a slider and pick a specific point. So one of the applications for the MD slider, actually there's many applications, but one of the ones that I like to use is to use the start point, right, the bottom one, the end point, and use this as our middle point. So let's go ahead and bring in a curve, and we'll go here to primitive. Actually, we can use one of these arcs, but I'll actually use the spline and NURBS curve, because this one kind of gives me a cool result when we plug in the 3 vertices. Now vertices are going to be the points. So let's go ahead and start with the bottom one. So it'll be this one. And when you just plug one into the vertices here, it looks red, like it's not going to work. So you have to plug in the next one over. The next one over is going to be our evaluated point. So we'll plug this one into here, and we'll see that now it creates a line here. We'll go ahead and plug in that last one, which is the top one. And so it's kind of cool that we were able to kind of create this kind of form just from using this point, right? So we can create kind of any shape like this. And so let's go ahead and take this form, which is this curve, the NURBS curve, and we're going to revolve it. So let's go ahead and go to revolve, and we'll do the revolution. What we're going to need for this one, it's basically going to take this one and swirl it around the mid axis. So what's the axis? Well, it's going to be this line that we initially had. Which curve? Well, we know we want to do this one, and automatically we get this shape that we can quickly update using this slider. So I want to share with you how to use the empty slider, one of the applications and how to use it. But if you actually think about it, there are so many different applications that you could use for the empty slider that this is just kind of one of them. So if you do have any questions or anything, please make sure to let me know. And if you have ideas for future videos or components that you have a hard time understanding that I might have some insight into, just let me know and I'll try to create a tutorial for it. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.